Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Today I just wanted to talk about a couple things that stood out for me at Auxpona. First of all, Auxpona was the first audio show I'd ever been to. I had never been to an actual audio expo or audio show. The only audio get-togethers that I've ever been to is with going over to a friend's house and or taking it somewhere for a friend to go, hey, you got this new headphone here, try this out. Hook it up to your phones or hook it up to your, various devices that you have and you try them out as a friend. Never got together with hundreds of vendors around. Been to car shows, RV shows, home shows, and all kinds of other arts and crafts type of expos. Never to an audio show. And so it was a unique experience. First, the negatives. Number one, you always feel pressured to move on. You don't have a whole lot of time to sit and listen and talk at a lot of the tables, especially the bigger named company tables. Some of them make you feel a little more welcome than others. And some of them made me feel a little bit like I was out of their league, like they knew I wasn't going to purchase something from them or be able to afford it. And so that was kind of disappointing. Couple of ones that a couple other things that stood out to me were there were a lot of things that cost a lot of money. I mean, $100,000, DACs and amps or speakers or anything of the sort, setups that just sound like normal setups. It didn't sound any different than something that I have sitting over here at a couple $100. Really blew my mind. And a lot of it comes down to what headphone you're using or what speaker you're using. And then there were a lot of things that were of the cheaper value that sounded really good that I had never tried before. And we'll talk about one of those here in a moment. And then there were also a lot of really super high-end stuff that sounded amazing, and I'll never be able to afford it. Wish I could. The good things. I've learned a couple of things about speakers that I think I might get interested into maybe doing reviews of or talking about here on the channel. Maybe documenting my growth as a person that has moved from headphones to speakers or uses both. It might be of interest. I think the first pair that I'm going to really look into will be probably something powered, and then moving on and maybe getting up out of the powered or getting into the higher end powered speakers to begin with. Vanatu was a company that really impressed me. Cantu, I think, was the other one that really impressed me, the speakers that I heard of theirs. So that might be something of interest going forward. Don't know exactly when. As far as headphones, got to meet some interesting people. Got to meet Dan Clark from Mr. Speakers. Very nice guy. Got to sit and chat with him for a little while. Got to hear all his various headphones. The Aeon Closed, the Massdrop Ether CXs, I think is XCs or whatever their little acronym is. Those are very nice. Also got to hear the regular Ethers, Ether 2s, and Ether Closed, and absolutely love them. The Voces are amazing. That was the first experience I ever had with Electrostat. So Mr. Speakers really impressed me, and there is not a headphone there from Mr. Speakers that I really didn't care for. But I definitely do like my Aeon Flow opens versus the closed. Because of the sound signature. I do know that. So I was glad I got to try the closed versus open of the Aeons. The ZMF table was actually really nice. Everybody there that works for Zach was very friendly and nice, very knowledgeable, very approachable. I got to meet Zach and wow. Try that again. Got to meet Zach and Bevan, and they're a very nice couple. And thoroughly enjoyed trying all their headphones that they had. And whatever that amplifier was that he had was just amazing. Big, huge blue thing with tubes all over it. Sounded awesome. And I'm sure it's way out of my budget. But yeah, that was a very nice tube amp that you had there. Sorry that had to have a little bit of technical issues with the Wi-Fi. But we got it all sorted out. And his headphones are just amazing. And I learned that the Auteurs would be the ones that I would prefer from ZMF. So those may be in the future for me at some time. The Icons also were amazing. Truly enjoyed the ZMF table. Moving over, got to go to Audeze. Audeze had a very nice table set up, and I learned that I liked open Audezes versus closed. The closed ones just have a weird, I don't know, it sounds like you're in like a big hall or something. They just had this, every now and then you get this echoey feeling with the closed. I just didn't care for it. Could have been the setup, could have been the setting, or something along those lines, but did not care for that. The LCD X's are what I would really enjoy. Those, hopefully I can find a pair of those used somewhere because they were amazing. And going over to Rupert Neff, he had a really interesting amp on display. And I liked how that it was able to determine what power you needed. It was really, really unique. He explained that to me. I hope to get to test that sometime. Full Cal had some interesting stuff set up. They had the Stellia and the Utopias, the Clears and the Illyrs, and I enjoyed all of them. The Utopia reminded me of a little bit better of an Elex, but to be 4 times as much just didn't seem to make sense to me. Build quality and everything, I mean, they're awesome, they're amazing, and they're probably the best headphone I've ever heard. But at $4,000 versus $700 for the Elex, give or take, is somewhere in that range. The value lies with the Elex, in my opinion. I mean, now if you can afford $4,000, or if you can get a really good deal on the Utopia, go ahead and get it. But that would be one of the ones where you're paying for just a little bit. I mean, 10% better, maybe a little bit more. Of course, being in that setting, couldn't fully hear everything that the Utopia had to offer. My opinion might change if I ever got to have one for an extended period of time. But I did truly enjoy it. Build quality wise, though, the Utopias are better. The Clears and the Illyrs, I think it was the Illyr that I really liked, and I could see the Illyr being a little bit better than the Elex also. Clears were, if I'm getting it right, I think it was the Clear was a little too bright for my preference. I didn't care for them as much. The HiFiMan table was interesting. Got to try HE1000, and those things are massively huge. And I'm not sure if I could ever get comfortable with those on my head. I mean, they're just a unique build, a little large, and sounded good, though. I was really impressed with the sound of them, but they were, I don't know, it just didn't feel right on my head. The Edition X and the I think it was the Arias sounded also very well, and a little bit smaller of build than the HE1000, but still had that weird, uncomfortable build feeling to them. I must say, though, the newer HiFiMan build quality is a whole lot better than it used to be. HiFiMan, they have stepped up the game when it comes to quality, so got to give them that. The other table that really stood out to me, there was so many others, but the other one that really stood out to me is right here, and that was Ibosso. And I want to talk about them a little bit. There was Steve and John at the table, and they were just super friendly, super nice, very knowledgeable, and they just stood out among all the others that were there as far as friendliness and just being willing to let you just sit there forever and talk to them. And I just thoroughly enjoyed that. And I learned a lot about Ibosso. And then something that I saw floating around a lot there were little portable DAPs. And I saw the Pioneer quite a lot. And I also saw the Sonys and Astral and Kern. Went by the Astral and Kern table and compared. And it just seemed like you were paying for the name and the build, and you could get all the same other parts of it in other products. And so that's the reason why I picked this little device up. And this is the Pioneer XDP30R, and I really am enjoying it for the little bit of time that I've had with it. I'll do a full review on it, but it's got 2 SD card slots, for 200 gig each, so you can do 400 gig of SD memory, and it has 16 gig built in. Has Wi-Fi. You can do 2.4 and 5 network. You can do line out, Bluetooth, and you can do online with Tidal, Deezer, and TuneIn. And you can have your big, huge library. It does all the way up to DSD if you want. And I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Also, it has 3.5 millimeter out and a 2.5 millimeter balanced out. And so that's really, really nice. So if you have a 2.5 millimeter cable for your in-ears, you can use this with it. Getting back to Ibosso, they let me try out several of their different in-ears. Also, let me try out the SR1 planar over-ear, which is a very nice planar, interesting build quality. I would love to get one of those in hand to test out and do a review on. But the little in-ear that surprised me was the $100 IT01, and $100. I mean, it's good build quality, excellent cable, and very good sound. I'll do a review and a comparison on this, but I just wanted to show it to you real quick. When you open it up, you get a quick shot of the earpieces and a little tin to store them in. And inside there you have your cable, which is a nice twist with aluminum casing on the connectors, and then you go to a split, and then it turns into a tighter braid. Goes into preforms, but they're not very snug or tight, and they're very loose, so they fit any type of ear. They have nice markings for red for right, and left is blue. And then you get a ton of different types of cable tips. The only complaint that I do have is the stock tips that came with it are a little too soft and mushy. They didn't give any protection in the ear, and so I did have to change them out pretty quickly. I didn't try any of the stock tips. I just went with ones that I currently have. The earpieces themselves are very nicely built, and as you can see, I put triple flanges on there, and very minimal on branding. It just says it right here on the very edge. It says Ibosso IT01, and you got blue for left, red for right. The port on it is fairly decent size, but it doesn't stick out too far. And your tips just kind of slide right on. When you go to put it in your ear, as you can see, they don't stick out very far, and they're extremely light, and they seal well. So I really like these, and the sound is just incredible. And so Ibosso stood out to me the most, and they were the ones that I decided to give a shot after trying out their gear. Of course, I already have gear from ZMF and also from Mr. Speakers. Hope to get some more in soon. But overall, Auxpona was a good experience for me. It showed me a lot of different things in regards to how the audio world works. You have the extreme budget tier, and then you have the mid-fi overall balanced, kind of where most people sit, and then you have the high extremes. And in my opinion, when you go from low budget to mid budget to high, I think the value for what you get, build quality, sound quality, and overall experience lies in that mid-fi area. I think from what I experienced at Auxpona, the low end stuff, you can definitely tell a difference when you get to the mid-fi. But when you go from mid-fi to hi-fi, you can tell a difference, but it's so minimal and so maybe only in one area or another area that doesn't really warrant the huge increases in price. Now, the differences are more significant when it comes to speakers. But when it comes to headphones and audio and headphone gear, I didn't notice it near as much as I did with the speakers. So, anyways, your experiences may be different, your thoughts may be different, and I respect that. But to me, that middle ground is kind of the most value for the dollar. Look forward to doing some reviews of various equipment coming up, and look forward to reading your comments and hearing about experiences that you folks have and thoughts that you have. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.